In this video, something very different. Not a car, not old. It's a 2018 Volvo FH13 500. What does that mean? To help me decipher that, I'm going to bring in Johnny, who drives this truck every day of the working week, and you can tell me a bit more about what it actually means. What do the numbers mean for a start?
The 500 is the horsepower rating of the engine. I don't think it's exactly 500, but it's high fours. The 13 is the size of the engine. It's a 12.6 litre engine, I believe.
That's quite big, yeah.
The Globetrotter XL is the largest cab that Volvo do on that chassis.
Excellent. Okay, well we'll have a quick walk around and yeah, something a bit different. We'll even have a look at the engine. So let's take a look. So yeah, it's a big old truck. Very grateful to Highfields Group, sorry, for letting us take this one out, because it's going to be very interesting. But yeah, this is a new world to me. It's a big, beefy, separate chassis underneath, enormous fuel tanks. We've got a tag lifting axle here in the middle, so you can carry even more weight. And yeah, it's just enormous. When you see one with a trailer, these tractor units look quite short, but when you actually see one in the flesh, you're reminded just how big they really are. Now, even getting in is a bit of a mission, because the driver's seat is further up than my own head. So a bit of a clamber. Up we go. And of course, everything is suspended, so I've got a lovely, comfortable air ride seat. So come aboard and we'll take in more of the interior. And yeah, we've even literally got a bed in here. So Johnny spent the whole week aboard this truck. And you know, we've got mod cons, we've got sunroof, powered screen, mirrors absolutely everywhere.
Essential.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gear selector, you're in neutral. Lock button on the front. Automatic. Reverse. Back to neutral again.
Yep.
That's economy and power. We won't need that. Don't need to put the foot on any pedals. Just turn the key and it will start. Never driven a Lexus, but it's quite a similar dial to a Lexus. That is the IS200. Right, the first little bit of travel will give you the neck. Like the first sort of 2 inches of pedal travel will give you the. Is that where you want it? Handbrake.
Better put my seatbelt on this.
Can do, because it will.
It's a Volvo.
It will shout at us, and it turns the radio down as well.
We can get a sunroof. I mean, on my car.
No, it's
Yeah, it's electric. It's electric. Electric blind as well. The sunroof hatch goes up from the back, and if you need to get out, there's a hammer down there to smash your way out. But if it's got to that point where you're on your side,
Let's hope we don't get
you've
to
got
that
more.
point. Yeah.
Foot on foot brake, into R, pull the trigger, push forward, and just go. Just put your foot on the throttle.
Auto handbrake, is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. You're off.
There we go. How many reverse gears are there?
2. That's the second one.
Oh, now we're motoring. There we go. First experience driving a lorry. It's very big, and there's another truck driver coming in. Do I wave at him? Oh, what do you do? Yes, there are so many buttons. Navigation, fleet, phone, audio. Blah, blah, blah. What does that button do? Oh, that's your tag lift. I think that's the lift. Is that the manual override for your tag axle?
Yeah, that yellow light on the dash tells you it's up. That stays in the middle on automatic. That's your hill hold assist. This is to inhibit the regeneration. The DPF every now and again will regenerate itself. When it gets very hot, it'll lift tarmac and burn grass.
So you want to be moving.
So all you can really do is stop, inhibit it with that. Lane departure, if you get too close to a line on this side.
Magic star button.
Yeah, that's your collision avoidance.
Alright, so we shall go A for automatic. I put the parking brake on, so will that still turn off automatically?
With your seatbelt on, it should go off automatically.
There we go.
favourite roads? Have you got enough, or is it?
At the moment, yes. It is an issue, and it's a growing issue.
Yeah.
What will happen, I don't know. It will tell you on the dash what gear you're in now, so now you're in
you're
4th.
fourth at the moment. Now we're in 6th. Oh, that's very smooth.
It is. It's just straight down towards the yellow blocks, and then if you go right.
Okay, to your left.
Yeah.
Suddenly this feels like a very narrow gap.
Wheel with the trailer on it, will it?
Yeah. Let's see how much I can remember then. Into A for automatic. Parking brake should turn off as I hit the accelerator. There we go, that's off. Is the cab suspended as well?
It is. It's on coil springs, 4-point coil springs with shock absorbers. So.
Which is why it felt quite so bouncy over this rough ground.
Yeah, there is an air option. It's not that many have. It gives you a little bit more comfy ride. It's still less T with a suspended cab.
Oof, that was a good bounce. This is like being in a 2CV on a 2CV. So is that fairly standard for it to pull away in 4th gear?
Yeah, it'll be taken that there's no trailer on them. There's no particular weight to need to move, and we're not on a incline.
Of course, what people sort of probably don't realise is how small the power band is.
It is. It'll do 56 at 1300 revs as well. So
yeah, so
low revving engine compared to a
from about 900 to what, about 1400 revs is kind of where you want to keep the revs for maximum efficiency, I guess.
It is green band, yeah.
So how many miles a week would you say you're doing?
We'd do between 500 and 600 kilometres a week. When you work in tacos, everything seems to be in kilometres.
Of course, yeah.
Busy weeks, big days, you can touch 800 a day on a 10-hour drive, mainly on the motorway. But I would say 600 k's a day is about average.
So what are your favourite places to drive?
I don't really mind. It's Southwest's nice, Scotland's nice. Because it's easy. It's easier driving up to Scotland than it is
that
driving
just
around the
traffic levels?
Driving around the North Circular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a very, very smooth transmission. I'm very impressed with that.
It is, and it's not the smoothest. Volvos do now do a dual clutch transmission. So your next gear is already pre-selected, which is even smoother.
So there is a manual mode. Do you tend to use the manual at all, or just leave it?
Sometimes use the manual mode to change down one gear a little bit earlier on approach to a hill. It's in the economy plus mode now. It will hang on to the revs. It will pull down to 1,000 revs, and but sometimes if you can see a hill in front of it, it can do a lot of things that it can't see. I believe you can get a Volvo that can see. They call it an IC. It does know where you are in the world, and it remembers where you are, and it remembers what gear you are in that particular place. And it's all for when you go again, it sort of knows where you are.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. It will do a big circle there.
Right, yeah.
Well, it feels quite warm.
Oh yeah, digital climate control on an absolute mess. So presumably when you got into truck driving, what was it, 1989 did you say?
1989 I started driving vans.
But trucks seem to have developed an awful lot in the past sort of
They have, and
20 or 30 years.
They've developed a lot in the last 10 years as well, and are continuing to do so, especially with hybrids and a system similar to the old trolleybus system where they're going to drive underneath suspended wires. That's happening in Europe, I believe.
The wiping performance is very impressive, I'm going to say.
Can you give a little demo?
You want more of a demo? Where do washers?
Pull the wiper stuck towards you.
I'll look at that.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, right where you want them. Right then, well, shall we complicate matters slightly and add a trailer to the mix? Here we go then. I'm going to try and pick that tanker up. This should be interesting. I've never done this before in my life. other than in Euro Truck Simulator. Of course, the mirrors distort your view of what's behind. I think that's something that doesn't really come across in Euro Truck Simulator. Your view is rather more standard. I've got to lower the rear suspension as well.
That's it.
And it does creak, I note.
Now raise the suspension.
So I'll use this control and do that.
Just go back gently. It will be quite an abrupt stop, but you'll know when you're in.
Okay. Bang.
That'll be it.
That'll be it then.
Put it in drive and give it 2 good yelps just to make sure you're in.
So just to go forward.
Just as if you're going to drive away. Don't move. You've got it now.
Super.
It won't fall off.
So yeah, it won't let me go because the trailer brakes are on because we haven't connected it up yet. So we'll go and do that next. So there we go, the air suspension, we've got it maxed out on the back. The tag axle has come down automatically. I haven't told that to happen because we've now got so much weight on it. So before we can go, we need to wind up the stands here. So we lift those up. And it looks like the handles are actually attached for those, so that's good. And then we need to connect up all the wiring and also the air brakes. So at the moment, the default position on a lorry and also coaches, if they've got air brakes, is the air keeps the brakes off. So if you remove the air, the brakes lock on. So it's a handy default position. So if you have a brake failure, an air line goes or something, the brakes will gradually come on and you will stop, rather than losing all your brakes, which would be disastrous. So that's where we are. We need to connect up and get the stands up. Look at this, it's like a door. The rear sort of deflector can fold out of the way to give you the access. So how many lines have we got going on?
This is what we call the red line. It is the main air supply to the trailer.
Okay.
We'll fill the air tanks up on the trailer, which will release the brakes.
So there you go, you can hear the brakes releasing.
This is an ABS lead for the ABS and
Oh wow, so even the trailer's got anti-lock brakes.
yeah, and the trailer will also, more modern trailers, if you hit a corner a bit too fast, it will sense it and the trailer will brake for you.
Blimey.
The first time we had one, I didn't know what was I had my window down and the trailer was going and slowing the lorry down, but
Gosh.
not that one too fast.
Yes, there is a difference, yeah.
Electrical connections for lights. And this is the service line. You put your foot on the
Oh,
brake pedal.
we had a light come on and then go off.
That'll probably be an ABS check. The lights aren't on the unit all the time. When you put your foot on the brake pedal, air comes down this. This
Okay.
is your control to the trailer from your foot.
So 2 air lines, 2 electrical connectors and your ABS connector as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. So got hazard lights going on here. I picked the right way to come, didn't I? Straight through the puddle. There's a lot of mud in a truck driver's life, I think. And sure enough, we've got our indicators working there as well. So there's and the tail lights have just been turned on as well, so we can walk around and check that. A lot of walking. You've got a long way to walk to check all your lights on a truck like this. And we can put a number plate. We're not going onto the road, so we're not going to do that. But there is a spare number plate sort of carried all the way down here. Ignore the banks. There's a shooting club nearby. So here's where you clip your rear number plate when it's not in use. So we could put that on if we fancied it. I think John is about to raise the legs. So yeah, anyone who thinks driving trucks is an easy life and you just sit there and drive, not necessarily so. Oh, you do both sides. There we go. Pull it out to lock it, and there we go. So how much weight have we got in this one, do you think?
There'll be nearly 29 tons in there.
29 tons, wow. And how much does the tractor unit itself weigh?
9 and a bit.
Blimey, so a fair bit of weight. Excellent. Oh, we should go and lower the suspension back to normal ride height. Go for a drive. I forgot one important step because I'm not a truck driver. This is the most important step apparently.
The dog clip stops that coming out.
Right, so we can't accidentally lose the
You
trailer.
never do it, but it's
So as we reverse back, that would have pinged out presumably.
that was out here. The
Oh,
jaws
okay.
were open. As you backed up, the jaws automatically grabbed the pin on the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That was the pin. That's what.
Oh yeah, there we go. Not sure I've ever had a look at one of those before.
We usually do walk-around checks, mudguard lights, loose things. But this, we're only going on the one way.
Yeah. Super. We shall clamber back on board. So air pressure is a bit low because we've just filled the system on the trailer. So we shall start the engine again. And it hasn't gone critical yet. Presumably it starts going bit.
Yes, it'll let you know. Yeah.
We can just see the air level is starting to creep up.
Compressors are so efficient now as well. Years ago, drivers used to start them up and rev them up to get the air up. These will pretty much do it just on tick over or.
Right. How do we know what position we're on with suspension? Are we still in dragster stance?
Yes. So if you press the green button, once we've got some air up, once the air's got out of the red and the white, it should then press the green button on there and you'll hear it and feel it level out.
There we go.
So now you're on normal ride height.
Excellent.
The mid lift has automatically dropped.
Right then, here we go.
This will behave a lot differently.
Yeah.
And you will need to just obviously clear the trailers, but you've got the room, so.
Oh yeah, we're into second now. I was saying while you were out, the big difference is you don't get that much distortion on the mirror on Euro Truck Simulator, I don't think.
Oh right, okay. The blind spot mirror is a very good one, the wide angle.
Yeah.
And Volvos with them not having a back, the gap in between the mirror arms is very good for blind spots.
Yeah, that's something again.
Compared to the Merc over there, Merc have got huge mirrors. And
yeah, again, doing the Euro Truck Simulator, you do get that when the mirror is just completely obliterating your view. You can't see what's coming.
right, okay.
So we haven't got any steering axles on this trailer. It's
No.
3 static axles.
Yeah.
And here's the bit I'm most nervous about. So we'll just have a quick swing over here. So much movement because the cab and the seat are moving around. Yeah. Presumably it must have a massive impact on braking distances
It does.
when you've got the load on. Well, I've seen sort of Volvo's own footage of their emergency stop systems, and it's frightening how quickly one of these will stop.
It is in an emergency situation, especially if the collision avoidance activates. There's a red light in the top of the dash which projects onto the glass, and you know it's going to happen. That is basically your pre-warning. If you don't take any action, as in slow down, brake, indicate, it will slow you down, and it will slow you down quite violently as well.
Very weird with it changing gear. Just as you think the revs are just starting to build up, it changes gear. You're like, ah.
Yeah, it's quite a narrow power band. Stalk nearest you on the right.
That one?
Yeah, I think you put it on 1 at the minute. Just instead of braking next time, just pull that towards you, down the 3 stops down when you are rolling, and it will activate the engine brake and slow you down without using the foot brake.
Does it still activate the brake lights though?
It does. It knows when it's slowing down quickly enough to put them on. It doesn't initially, but it will.
Yeah, that is fully down. This is maximum acceleration, people. It's building the speed up. Is that outer ring kilometres?
No, it's miles.
It is miles. So
You just pull that stalk back towards you all the way. Click it down towards you. that is the engine brake slowing you down.
Wow.
So it's dropping into the rev range it needs to be in. It will disengage when you go back on the throttle.
Right, so as you probably saw there's a certain amount of tyre scrub going on, so you can turn one of these on the spot, but you think about the pivot point of this rear end, you're sort of pivoting mostly around this middle axle, so these outer ones are trying to swing around on the spot. The tyres are effectively trying to go sideways, and that's why you tend to see lift axles on a lot of trucks and trailers. It's to reduce that scrubbing effect, especially when the trailer's empty, so there's no point having all the axles down. Challenge time. It's enough just gentle driving around. If I'm going to be a proper trucker, I've got to carry out a proper manoeuvre. So we're going to try and park this massive tanker in this little yellow bay there. Very, very skinny. It looks about the width of the bay. So this is going to be an interesting one. So we're putting down the cones because I want to get the back end of the trailer absolutely parallel with those. So it's going to be fun to see if A, I can get it anywhere near in that box, and B, how close to the cones can I get it?
Someone has played far too much Euro Truck Simulator.
Well, yes, in theory this will be no problem because I'm so good at Euro Truck Simulator. In practice I think this is going to be very, very difficult, so we'll just wait for the cones to be set out and we'll give it a go. I've got a restriction on my right, I've got the fence, so I can't turn just yet. Now I can have a clear. You can hear the tyres scrubbing away, and I don't feel like I've got all that much lock on yet. Okay, this is where we want to reverse to. So the start of where I want to reverse to, I currently can't see. Right, here we go then. Oh, I didn't actually go right, I was meant to go to the right. Counterintuitive. Let's see how we do. I think I'm going to flatten the cone here. Or maybe not. So I can't see the cone that is the other side of the bay at the moment, so I'm trusting Johnny here. I think I may have hit that cone. I think Johnny's just moved that cone. We're on full lock, trying to get her to straighten up. Is she going to do it? Oh, not quite. I think I'm going to have to straighten up on that one. So we shall go back into forwards. So now I can just see that in the far mirror. I need to get a bit more angle on there. I think I'm just going to have another go at straightening that up. We're getting there. And I'm going to say that's me done. Let's go and see what sort of a mess I've made of that. That was not at all easy. I would say that isn't my best work, but I was quite good on the back. I think actually, you know, I'm pretty much there where I wanted to be on the back. So yeah, that's not too bad for my first attempt. But yeah, could do better, I think. Yeah, that is difficult. So when you see one of these trucks reversing, just give them time. They need it, because yeah, that's not easy at all. So here's a question: how do you stay cool at night? 'Cause presumably you can't just leave the engine running to have the aircon going.
1980s air conditioning.
Oh, that's when you go to full-on manual mode.
Yeah.
That has still been fairly sticky.
It has. It's been awful. Windows down a little bit. Sunroof open. Curtains drawn fairly early on, so you're not sitting there with the sun.
Yeah.
Again, an option. Volvo do a iCool Park, which is a independently powered parking cooler.
Right, full on excitement, we're going for power mode, so unleashing all of those 500 brake horsepower and many torques, I imagine. It must be over 1,000 pound-foot of torque.
2,500 newton meters.
2,500 newton meters, which is we'll put the pound-foot up as well, but that will be over 1,000, I think. So we're going to put it into automatic, just check there's no one coming up around us, and whoa, feel the power. Revving up to almost 2,000 revs now. Into 6. Oh, you can feel the boost coming on. The higher you go up the gears, more boost. We're in 8th gear now, 9th. Get some nice engine noise going on, that's nice. Don't think what our economy is at this point, but
Oh, it could be 6 probably.
6 mpg. Right.
During acceleration it'd be low.
My foot is still flat to the floor. We are going to reach 40 miles an hour before I start thinking maybe I'll slow down. There we go. That was exciting. We can give it the old big swing.
You can do.
This is going to scrub horribly, so we won't go very quickly doing this. And this is a bit loose, the ground over here. I suppose that helps. Oh yeah, there's a giant trailer there. Hello. So yeah, acceleration not the strongest point when you got that much weight on. We are just over 44 tons, so this trailer won't be going out on the road. It will be lightened before it goes out. But yeah, don't cut a truck up, because even with an automatic gearbox it takes forever to get your speed back up again. We haven't talked about horns, very important. We've got a polite horn, which just sounds like a little car horn. That's your excuse me, and then there's a oi, get out of the way horn. Obviously a professional driver would never do that.
One of the latest problems, it's something that never used to happen. I know cabs have got higher, which also makes, I think trucks have got bigger, cabs have got higher from the floor, so you've got more of a blind spot. The latest thing is, it's vehicles joining the motorway from a slip road don't always seem to accept that that broken line is a give way line.
Yeah.
It's, I'm coming onto the motorway. Often you can't get out, you can't move.
No, but I think this is a problem. When traffic levels used to be lower, it was easier to just move over, and people assume that's what the cars on the motorway must do now.
The latest phenomenon seems to be cars coming in the blind spot, just lightly catching the front corner of that bumper, then they just turn into the front of the truck and push
No,
out
I
the
never
motorway.
there. Oh, but
It must be terrifying. It really
I mean,
must
that
be.
mirror would tell you, wouldn't it?
It would. I've
But
never
not,
done it.
I guess not all trucks have them.
No, and you've got what, 2 eyes and 6 mirrors.
Oh, you're still recording. Hello. That is the engine oil dipstick. for the lorry. So at least, yeah, at least you don't have to tip it up just to check the engine oil, but that is very long. And under here we can also see the coil springs for the cab. There must be interesting steering linkage to accommodate the movement that's going on. Right, we're going to see now if we can have a look at the engine. So this is how easy it is to check on the engine. Most importantly, you have to remove your tea and coffee making facilities and anything else loose inside the cab, because obviously we're going to tip it up. So anything that's in the cab will just go flying forward, lost down the base of the windscreen, never to be seen again.
Or out the windscreen.
Or out the windscreen, yeah, because it could come from quite a long way back.
Part of the noise you can hear in the cab as well is the induction rod, because the air for the engine comes in on the cab roof, down in that rubber bellows into that side of the engine. So all the air intake comes from literally from the roof. You can actually hear a bit of reverberation. And
right, I'm going to bring you in, camera. The shot most people want is just down here. Look at that for a turbo. I'm not going to touch it because it will be very, very hot, but that's my hand by comparison. That is a mighty, mighty turbocharger. Blimey. How many miles has this one done?
I'm looking at 306,000 kilometres.
Gosh, in 3 years. So yeah, these trucks do leave a life, but look at that for engine access. Just by comparison, look how much easier it is on a Daewoo Matiz. So actually a Daewoo Matiz is much better. This tiny little 0.8 litre engine compared to this 12.6 litre one. Wow. And you can see where the dipstick tube comes all the way down to the sump. So yeah, you wouldn't want to have to do this just to check the oil level. So one of the key problems with blind spots, we've set up the joining a motorway. So you have to imagine that Myrtle is in the slip road at the moment. The truck is thundering along in lane 1 of a motorway or dual carriageway. Dual carriageways are even worse. The slip roads are often really, really short. So this is what it looks like from the outside. So from this position, I can quite clearly see the lorry. It is right there. It is not the lorry's duty to move out of my way. I'm joining, the markings indicate that it's a give way. Now, trucks, decent folks and ladies for the best part, they will try to move over if they can. But if there's someone in the lane next to them, they can't. So I must slow down and let this truck go. But this is a very dangerous position. I'm now going to show you why. So here I am in my lorry, and look at this. Where is that Matiz? We can actually see it in this mirror there, but not every truck has that mirror. Just see a blue smear right there on the corner. But we cannot see. I have to stand right up here. We can just see the car. You can't do that if you've got your seatbelt on. You're sat here, that car, absolutely invisible. We can't see it in these mirrors because she's too far forward. And like I say, if that mirror wasn't there, we would have no idea. And I have seen clips where cars have hit the corner of the lorry, spun round onto the front and been pushed down the road. So it's absolutely critical you don't do that, because that car, absolutely invisible. I know Myrtle isn't the biggest car, but that shows you just how dangerous it is. Well, there we go. That was a very useful, very insightful experience. The trucker's eye view of what's going on. Some very interesting manoeuvring, very difficult. Huge thanks to the Highfields group for letting me do this, and to Johnny for showing me around his truck. But yeah, very, very interesting experience indeed. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget you can head to the Hubnut store and buy lovely merchandise, and find support options in the description below this very video. So thank you. I look forward to seeing you again. Farewell. I should have done a longer pshoo.